Bitcoin is a swarm of cyber hornets serving the goddess of wisdom, feeding on the fire of truth, exponentially growing ever smarter, faster, and stronger behind a wall of encrypted energy. The basis of the free market is anytime you can generate revenue or profit, you've created value in excess of the resources you consume in a society. That's probably the most unbiased utility function there is, as opposed to someone's opinion. The old ways of teaching are slow and expensive, but with mobile, cost plummets, access broadens, and pedagogy rises. I'm not so naive as to think that everybody always succeeds, right? I mean, half of Shakespeare's stories are tragedies, right? I basically got an education in software on DuPont's money because they were too stubborn to admit that a recession was coming. I've developed a much greater respect for our politicians and every high-tech CEO. It's very easy to read about the things they did that you, of course, would have avoided in hindsight. The Saylor Foundation is meant to be a gadfly to encourage Google, Apple, MIT, Harvard, the United States government, and the Chinese government to aggressively pursue digital education. The benefit of rich families putting their child through Harvard is always going to exist. But it's quite evident that there are 700 million peasants in China who are never going to go to Harvard. The industries that fall first are the industries that either produce electromechanical items that are now inferior to their software substitutes, or the industries that produce a mechanically created service that's now inferior. Companies that make keys, credit card companies. Any company in the service business, anything to do with a consumer is probably a software company. You could call me on the phone and say, "Someone blew up your entire house." Mike, if it's not a person involved, I would sort of blink, whatever. That's all replaceable, right? Nobody has really grasped yet the great wealth that can be made selling data over the web. There are 100 million potential customers out there. Instead of 500,000 average algebra teachers, we need one good algebra teacher. We need that teacher to create software, videotape themselves, answer questions, let your computer or the iPad teach algebra. The hallmark of any good technology is that it destroys jobs. We're in an inflection point where it's cheaper to learn to read on a tablet computer than it is to learn to read on paper. And that being the case, it's only a matter of time before every 6-year-old kid has a tablet computer, and we know for a fact, 3 to 4-year-old kids are using tablets and iPads. And 75 and 80-year-olds are using them. My principal professional objective is to introduce intelligence as the ubiquitous utility. I'd like to be the Thomas Edison of intelligence. Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace, run by incorruptible software, offering a global, affordable, simple and secure savings account to billions of people that don't have the option or desire to run their own hedge fund. I don't need a coach to tell me what to say. I need a coach to figure out what kind of shirt to wear and how to look at the camera and how to avoid, picking your nose on camera. What amplifies the transformational power ahead is the confluence of two major technological currents today: the universal access to mobile computing and the pervasive use of social networks. When you're building a company, you need to continually strengthen every component: finance, strategic partnerships, executive team, and relationships with every last constituency. I think my software is going to become so ubiquitous, so essential, that if it stops working, there will be riots. Bitcoin links together 8 billion people, links together 100 million companies, it synchronizes the world across political jurisdictions. And it returns rationality to the entire financial system, and it returns freedom and property rights to the entire human race. It's easy to fall into the trap of assuming that a new technology is very similar to its predecessors. A new technology is often perceived as the linear extension of the previous one. And this leads us to believe the new technology will fill the same roles, just a little faster or a little smaller or a little lighter. The road to success is paved with setbacks, challenges, and failures. Embrace them as opportunities for growth. Financial success is not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and grow. Leadership is not about commanding. It's about inspiring and empowering others to achieve greatness. True wealth is not measured by the size of your bank account but by the impact you make on others. Success in business is not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it and adapting quickly. Entrepreneurship is about turning dreams into reality through relentless execution.